Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the HalfTime Roomies. This is your host with the most and Sabka dost, and also I love Kadai Gosht, Yashraj Singh Dillon. Today we're talking about one of the most viewed sports on this planet, cricket. As you can see, we're all brown, so I think it's a fair assumption to make that we do love cricket. We are Indians and we do come from the land of quite a few great cricketers. And with me today I have from the land of Sachin Tendulkar, Radhika Sehgal.
Hello.
And from the land of probably the greatest Indian captain of all time.
Definitely the greatest Indian.
From West Bengal, Saurav Ganguly. We have Subhrojit Majumdar.
What's up, people?
And so to start off, let's start with Radhika Sehgal. So in your opinion, who do you think is the greatest Indian batsman of all time when you take into account the records and stats and the kind of innings they've played in building up the team and winning matches?
Well, honestly, since the time you've been talking about the greatest Indian batsman, I can only hear churn my head. And that obviously is for the greatest Sachin Tendulkar. I mean, he is synonymous with world cricket. He's synonymous with being the greatest batsman of probably all times. There's Indian cricket and there's almost Sachin Tendulkar, which is like kind of two parallel feelings. Like, especially when I started watching cricket, I was very young. I probably knew Sachin Tendulkar before knowing anything more about Indian cricket. And he's probably drawn a lot of people's attention, a lot of the generation of the youth into the sport itself. He superseded all the greatest batsmen that we've admired as well. And not taking away any credit from them, they're pretty great at what they do. And if they hadn't been there, then cricket wouldn't have been such a great contest.
He was the one who revolutionized the sport in this country, just purely because of the way he went on about things. You'll always have someone who will come and change the sport. So if you talk about basketball, you talk about Jordan, the way he, just changed the whole outlook of the game and unlocked new abilities for people to believe in. And that's exactly what he did. Before he came in, people didn't believe that these things could be done, but then he led the way and made people believe, no, these things can be done. And he made the sport more exciting.
I guess the culmination of his career was winning the 2011 World Cup. I think that was something so playing in 6 World Cups, he had never won a World Cup. He'd come close to winning one in 2003, and of course Australia absolutely battered India in the finals. But of course I think Sachin capped off his career with an amazing win with the most runs in the 2011 World Cup. Let's switch to Shubhro. So who in your opinion is the greatest Indian batsman of all time?
See, I find this a little difficult to answer almost, because when you talk about greatest, what are you really talking about? What is that yardstick that you're measuring this by? I understand where Sachin Tendulkar is probably the most iconic batsman India has produced. But when we talk objectively about numbers, about stats, about career trajectory, I don't see any real comparison between Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli.
Okay.
Virat Kohli, in my books, is definitely the best batsman India's ever produced.
So we're talking about the greatest Indian batsman. When let's say you talk about the best Indian batsman, you could probably argue that Kohli has a better average than Sachin, or he's on track to kind of break Sachin's records pretty soon. But the point of the greatest Indian batsman discussion also entails the fact that you've carried that team. You've built dynasties over that team.
So I'll just be a little more objective. First, I'll be a little more data-driven and talk about just numbers. So if you look at Virat Kohli's progression, he was the fastest Indian to 1,000 runs, 24 innings. Fastest to 7,000 runs, beat Sachin. Fastest to 8,000 runs, 9,000 runs, 10,000 runs, 11,000 runs. That is incredible. But this is an ODIs. So I know there are a lot of naysayers who say, in terms of Test cricket, maybe he's not quite up there.
I don't think that Kohli can get close to Sachin as far as Test cricket is concerned. But overall, I reckon Kohli, if you talk about all formats and you meshed them all together, Benedict, and you somehow tried to put the stats and you came up with every single thing, you would find that Kohli is better than
Funny
Sachin.
you mention that. In the if you look at decades, in the decade of the 2010s, running from 2010 to 2019, he scored more international runs in all forms than anyone has ever made in any decade in history.
Pushed it away behind square, and a remarkable player has adorned a remarkable day's cricket. A 22nd Test 100 for Virat Kohli, his first in England.
I know there have been constant comparisons with Kohli because he's been breaking records with lesser number of innings. But if you got to see between 94 and 2001, which was like his crucial time and his peak season before I think his injury happened as well, Sachin actually has a better strike rate. In terms of contributing, and he's been ahead of his peers on several occasions. So yes, definitely Kohli might be achieving milestones with lesser number of innings, but Tendulkar has, at his time and at his era, been way ahead of his peers. He has had a very good average. He's actually had more half centuries than Virat Kohli in reaching that 10,000 runs milestones. So that probably shows a little more characteristic about him.
See, breaking records, it's a number. It's not all about it. It's all about how much you win for your country and how much you enjoy your time being and how you, as a cricketer, given all to the game. So you can't compare Sachin and Virat. Very difficult to compare. He played in a different era. Bowlers are different. Batsmen are different. Wickets are different. Cricket is changed. So much things has happened. So it's very difficult to compare each other. In own way, they are the greats. But Sachin is something achieved more than anyone else. So once you, and 25 years to play cricket, it's 24 years, it's very hard. And also playing 15,000 runs and 18,000 runs, tons of hundreds. It's hard to be, see, when Sachin was playing, in early stages, first 10 years, Sachin gets out. First 10 years, I'm not talking. Sachin gets out, India out. Like that, he was carrying the team for 10 years.
What Virat Kohli has done is he's inspired the nation in terms of actually being able to realize the idea that yes, we'll go on foreign soil, we'll put up a fight and actually win. Although Sachin put up a fight, Virat has showed us the results.
I think it's also arguable that Sachin faced a very higher quality of attack, right? Like he went up against the Walshes and the Ambroses and like the Waqar Yunuses of the world and Wasim Akram, Shane Bond, Brett Lee. I mean, the list is endless. The way cricket has now evolved into more of a batsman's game, and Virat making those runs in an era where there are more restrictions that kind of favor the batsman, with the fielding restrictions and the power plays. Do you think that playing in an era and with a team where you can kind of be reckless in a manner where you know there are 5 more quality batsmen who can save the day, when you're playing with the Rainas and the Dhonis of the world, do you think Kohli can then also be kind of more reckless in the way he plays and a bit more aggressive as compared to Sachin, who had to kind of carry a team in the 90s with Azharuddin gone, Jadeja gone, Sidhu gone, and he was basically playing with a very young team. Yashraj and Kaf were in their teens, and Ganguly and Dravid were still establishing themselves with Kambli gone. So in your opinion, do you think Kohli could have carried that 90s team?
Tendulkar has been probably given the most difficult set of cards to deal with. Like he's never really had a very strong team with a strong bowling attack. You have bits and pieces players, and the bowling attack was always centered around one strong player. So Kumble or a Srinath, things like that. Even the batting as well. There were stalwarts. I would argue there were stalwarts. Right. There were youngsters, but they were all growing together. Yes, Sachin was more established in 1996 when these guys were coming up. So Dravid and the Gangulis and the Rishikesh Kanit, when these guys were coming up. So there were bits and pieces player, but we still had the most envied batting lineup to a certain degree, at least in the subcontinent. So if that being said, I don't think we can make that comparison even if for Kohli, if you think about it. He is bringing in new players. KL Rahul is his opener. He has not had a consistent opener in a long time.
Right.
So he still comes into number 3, number 4 and has to handle the heat from Mitchell Stark. He has to handle the heat from Jofra Archer.
I think his all-round game's pretty impressive. He can score runs at home, scores runs away from home, which is incredibly important for any batsman or around the world. And he's just someone who loves that competition and whether it's being a little bit more aggressive at times or not, he loves that competitive nature of cricket. And once you step back over the white line, he's pretty chilled and likes to get around the boys, as I've sort of known through IPL cricket, and it's pretty special as well.
So I would not see a direct comparison. Yes, cricket has become easier, but there is DRS now. You can't get away with howlers. Yes, you can get away with some bad decisions. Yeah. In terms of Virat Kohli, the margin for error kind of reduces with DRS. That is my personal belief. Right. People are getting smarter in terms of how to use it. The other aspect of it is how many people in world cricket, how many teams in world cricket had more than 2 people bowling at 150 k's per hour back in the day? Not very many. That is consistent with every single team that's out there right now.
But also looking at, the spin department.
Okay.
That I think that's something that we need to talk about. There's no more Muralidharans and Kumble's and Warnes and Mushtaqs. So
yeah.
It's one thing to consistently hit a fastball, but then you look at the spin department and it's very, very weak compared to what it was 20 years ago. So where do you see kind of that playing into Kohli just smashing records at this point?
Well, honestly, the pitches also are like designed in such a way where nothing is left for spin bowlers. So even if they come in and they do their bit, but they're not getting the results, and that's what's something to question. And of course you have limitations like for the number of Yorkers that you want to do, so it's still very batting centric. So yes, coming back to the question, I think Tendulkar did face a more lethal attack. There is no doubt about it. Come on, we've seen them, we've probably been scared watching it on our TV screens. So that's the kind of crazy attack that he faced, and he faced it with great courage and great pride. He's, of course, right from the very beginning when he got hit off by Waqar Younis in his debut game, he bounced back, and how? And he made a statement and established himself that even though I'm a young, probably small-built guy, but I am here for business, and I do it really well.
I think when he was young, I was very impressed when he was very young, and he was a very, very attacking batsman. Then after that, he became a great player, and he's now one of the best players in the world. It's tough to bowl to him, and he has done really well. To someone going to get about 100 is something special, because nobody has achieved, and I think nobody is going to achieve this milestone ever.
But I really don't think Virat Kohli's success will be, or his legacy will be, through his runs. Okay. It's his contribution to Indian cricket. Right. Because he's a captain. He's a captain more than anything. Sachin was a great player, individual contributor, not a leader as much.
The way cricketers should aspire to play for the country, work hard on their fitness, be disciplined, take care of their diet, take it to the absolute peak of professionalism, because in order to keep the standard of the sport going in the country and globally, everyone needs to take responsibility. So I think I'm contributing in that regard.
Sachin, I think, was made the captain after the whole match fixing scandal. So that was a very tricky situation to bring back a team together and lead them. And plus he's always had that kind of pressure and eyes on him, which is magnificent to live up to. So but I do feel like he has still been able to guide the team always with his mere presence in the dressing room. So yeah, he's not been a captain by name, but he's definitely been a huge influence on every player that has either played with him or who is going to come and play in Indian cricket.
There are certain players, there are individual contributors, and then there are leaders. Dhoni is a leader. yes, he's a great batsman, but he's a leader as well. His legacy is he has won India the World Cup. He has won India tournaments. Virat Kohli's contribution to Indian cricket is not limited to his batting. It will be his legacy in terms of where he takes Indian cricket after Dhoni has given him the reins. And through his individual contribution, through his batting, through his leadership, through his captaincy, his strategic initiatives, what kind of culture does he inculcate and where does he take Indian cricket forward? So that being said, he's making cricket a professional game. He has won numerous awards. I'm not going to go into how many times he's become the ICC Cricketer of the Year, Batsman of the Year, Emerging Player of the Year, Under 19 World Cup captain. He's done it all.
Yeah.
So that being said, Virat Kohli is the best.
I think the hunger to score runs and never be satisfied. He's extremely expressive, exuberant. He's leading by the example. I think team that he's leading is also a promising team. He's doing a wonderful job, and on personal front, exceptional. I think he's been remarkably consistent and has an impact on the game. It is all about inspiring the next generation, and without any doubt he's done that.
As you can see, some very good and valid points from both sides. Great discussion, guys. And let us know what you guys think. Drop us a comment, leave us your thoughts about who do you think is the greatest Indian batsman of all time. Also, let us know which other topics we should be talking about. What else would you like to hear about cricket or any other sport in general? So thanks Radhika for being on the panel. Thanks Subhro for being on the panel. Drop us a like, share and subscribe. And we'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
Cheers.